Welcome to our final session of Helps for Host. It sure has gone fast, hasn't it? And I bet it was a lot easier than you thought it was going to be when we started out. You know, as you look back on these last 6 weeks, think of the things that God has done in your group and in you. I want you to know that you have been a part of a great movement of God, a purpose-driven movement. There are thousands of other small group hosts just like you who have generously opened their homes to a group of God's people in purpose-driven churches all over America and around the world. And in the last 40 days, think about this, thousands of small groups have touched their communities through group outreach projects and have started serving in their church congregations through group ministry projects. Amazing stories are beginning to come in already. And as your group looks back on what you've accomplished together, I hope you'll not just say, look what we did, but that you'll say, look what we started together. Because this is to be a lifestyle. Remember, we fulfill God's purposes better together, and we really do need each other. So I hope this won't be the end of your fellowship and of your group. At the end of this video teaching, I'm going to ask your group to think about giving a special offering to your church. Now, please don't shy away from this. I know a lot of people get uptight when somebody talks about giving. But giving is an important subject in the Christian life. God so loved the world that He gave, and we can only become like Christ when we learn to be generous. This is an act of worship. Now, when your group talks about giving an offering to your church, please make it clear they're not to give the offering at your small group. No, it is an act of worship at the place of worship when you worship. So your purpose in this session is just get everybody talking about how could we help our church through an offering. And let each of your group members decide what they're going to give. That's all anonymous and secret. It doesn't matter to you. God just wants them to give joyfully with a grateful heart. But they do it at church this next weekend. Now, when you get to the worship together section of your group time in this session, I want you to encourage each of your members to share at least one important lesson that they've learned during 40 days of community. Now, that's probably going to take everybody a minute or so to think of as they go back through their workbook and look at the lessons they've learned. So I want you to be prepared to prime the pump. You start things off yourself. You take a few minutes before this session starts to think about the lessons, maybe even write some down, that you've learned in your small group study. And then I want you to share first, and that'll get everybody else going. Now, before you leave, you're going to need to come to a decision about your future together as a group. And of course, I hope you're going to stay together. In this week's Serve Together section, I'm going to encourage your group to honor and affirm you as their group host. Now, I know this is going to feel a little awkward or weird or funny, and you may want to shut it down, but please don't do that. Let your group appreciate you. They need to do it. They need to express love and appreciation to you for being the host, and don't rob them of the joy of expressing that gratitude. By the way, speaking of gratitude, I want to personally express my appreciation to you. From Rick Warren to you, for all that you've done these last several weeks. You know, if you hadn't volunteered to host this small group, the people in your group would have missed out on a great blessing, and people in your church and community would have not been touched by the projects that you did. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to say to you, thank you. I'm proud of you, and you have done a great thing for the kingdom of God, and I know that God is pleased. You're probably thinking, what's next? Well, you may not know this, but 40 Days of Community is actually one of a trilogy of 3 different 40-day campaigns. The first, 40 Days of Purpose, what on earth am I here for? The second, 40 Days of Community, what on earth are we here for? And the third, which I'm not going to give you the name to yet, is on what on earth am I doing with what I've been given? And we're going to talk about that third campaign that I hope you'll want to be a part of. You can get information on the website, and I hope that you'll choose as a group and as a church to be a part of all 3 of these purpose-driven campaigns in this trilogy. You can get information, as I said, on the website. And also, let me just say, we'd love to hear the stories of your group projects. We're actually publishing them in different ways on the internet and in publications. You can send your stories about your ministry projects that you did and the effect of that, and your mission or outreach projects to stories@purposedriven.com. Write to me at stories@purposedriven.com and let me know how your life was changed, your group was changed, and your church and community was changed. God bless you. I'm going to be praying for you and hope to see you in the next campaign.